So this isn't a video that I wanted to make, but this man called me content and continued to post about me in his story instead of have a private conversation without publicly milking it dry first, because he doesn't seem to care about the things he says, nor how those things harm people, as he demonstrated in his overwhelming amount of responses to the situation. I originally posted this video on my spotlight as a sort of message to other creators to be responsible, blocked out his name and such, since I genuinely didn't want him to be attacked over this. I wanted him to private message me and we could discuss this with respect if it bothered him. Any responsible creator who cares about others as he claims would be open for that. He is a fairly big creator with multiple channels, a Snapchat that used to have a star, you get the idea. He's gigantic in relation to me, which is important context for the reason for this video. I have supported this dude for countless years, watched his YouTube videos with multiple channels, liked his content, texted for engagement, fought for him to have his Snap star reinstated, and more. This was entirely my choice, and doesn't change the reality of his decisions in the slightest, but it does explain that I may be a little bit biased regarding this situation, which I have every right to be. It was a clown move on my part to support someone that I do not know as I did, but I genuinely thought he was a good person that could really touch a lot of lives, make people laugh as he did me. Yes, he cheered me up a few times, and I give credit where it is due for that. But then it seems like the mask came off, and I got to see who this homie truly could be. Dude came off as a reactionary troglodyte that seemingly manipulates his audience by preaching all the good he believes in, and then having his current actions speak the absolute opposite. He literally manipulates them as well, but we'll get to that later. This homie posted this, saying that he's welcoming to everyone, that he accepts them for who they are, which even though this is obviously because of Pride Month, it's also a sentiment he has repeated countless times on his Snapchat alone. I don't have any evidence of this since I had zero reasons to archive these words in the past, so feel free to take it with a grain of salt. It doesn't change anything either way. So whenever I ask a question of if he would feel the same if someone didn't like Pride Month, a simple question, not complicated, literally can be answered with a yes or a no, or better yet, if you are rather immature and can't respond respectfully, then it can even be ignored. Shocker, I know. Yet he will say in the future that my private response garnered the response I wanted because yes, I totally wanted you to blast me on your social. Wise takeaway given all I said before that message, little bro, which we will get to in the future. His response, instead of anything I brought up as a feasible possibility, is to post me on his story with an excerpt from my past sentence, like it's some kind of diss, even though anyone with reading comprehension can see that I never said anything disrespectful or unkind in the slightest. I asked a question and homie seems to have got his feelings so hurt for literally no reason, so he decided to use his platform to quote unquote blast me. Wild. I responded by calling out the blatant hypocrisy. You know, the same kind he was reaching to try and call out on me, even though you would have to add your own context straight out of your rear in order to apply that labeling to me during this interaction. Instead of realizing what I was saying, even though I could have responded a bit more respectfully, that I admit, he then decides to post about me a second time, quoting one of his fans and drawing even more attention to me. Negative attention. Weaponizing his audience against me by irresponsibly using his influence for one of two outcomes. Either he's super naive and doesn't comprehend the damage he could cause by doing this, or he's being a literal jerk that would be okay with getting someone attacked or judged by his entire audience by misrepresenting what the person said willingly multiple times. Oh yes, this isn't his only response, and I have yet to understand why. Homie then makes this post insinuating that I'm homophobic, because that's a very popular thing for people to do when they don't have an actual reason for whatever point they are trying to make. You know, kind of like him in this moment. Given the comment comments he posted, it looks like he surrounds himself with yes men to feed his seemingly very inflated ego, an ego that if exists to the degree that it seems, I'm ashamed to say I had a part in it for so many years. I take full responsibility for that. Hopefully his forehead can recover from his head growing to this degree, praying for a big brain outcome at the end of the day.
The hypocritical homophobe decided to drop another response, and it's even worse than the first. Why do you have to send me a whole essay? I don't want to read, but I'm going to anyways because I need content and this is low-key kind of fun for me. Let's start at the beginning. LMBO, laughing my butt off. Are you serious, bro? So you're okay with hating gay people, but saying is where you draw the line? That's crazy. I don't know if I could take the rest of this seriously, but the irony of you saying this after proving your literal own words wrong. Huh? I'm gonna keep reading in hopes that you elaborate on that. I asked a simple question and you decided to try and blast. I don't know why blast is in quotation marks. I did exactly that. Blast me after talking about being loving and welcoming. I would like to remind everyone of my own words. Take a look at this. Happy Pride Month. I accept you for who you are, and you'll always be welcome here in Godzilla again.
Then he says he's holding back. Holding back what, dude? Holding back every inch of intelligence that resides within that brain? I know you're not stupid, man. I followed you for years. I am aware that you are smart. Insanely so, sometimes. So are you holding back every ounce of decency that someone who isn't terminally online would have? Holding back from all the ists and the obics you may mindlessly throw out? Give me a break, bro. Out of the respect that I used to have for you, though, I'll do you the courtesy of responding to your statement here. In a way that demonstrates that respect and honor you didn't grant to me. So Johnny's statement reads, before I continue, I would like to say that you and I both know I'm holding back a lot. I'm being very careful with what I say because I don't want any of my posts to be taken down. Nowadays, when a popular person on the internet defends themselves against bullies and trolls on one of the major social media platforms, they view that as bullying harassment, which is bullcrap. They can say whatever they want, but I can't stand up for myself. Screw that. That's not the example I want to set. I will always stand up for both myself and others in need. I encourage all of my followers to do the same, refuse to be their slaves. You're careful of what you post because you don't want it taken down? Come on, man, don't censor yourself here. You had every opportunity to respond privately where this wouldn't have been an issue. You chose to make this a public affair with the possibility of involving every breathing being on Snapchat. So by changing the environment, you then set these limitations yourself. You can't use them as an excuse when you are the cause of them to begin with. That's like catching a house on fire but complaining when you catch some smoke. If you actively choose to burn everything around you, then the ashes that remain are your responsibility too. Nowadays, when a popular person on the internet defends themselves against bullies and trolls on one of the major social media platforms, they view that as bullying harassment, which is bullcrap. They can say whatever they want, but I can't stand up for myself. Screw that. Homie, you can defend yourself all you want. It's bullying and harassment whenever you come up with bullcrap statements in order to attack someone that asks you a question. What kind of brain dead take is this, man? You ain't a victim here. You are a creator with thousands of followers across many social media platforms, almost millions on one channel alone. Followers that you just rallied behind you because, and let me reiterate this, I ask you a question. I never attacked you, I never harassed you. I opened the door to a conversation and you let your audience in and push me out the back. That's not the example I want to set. I will always stand up for both myself and others in need. I encourage all of my followers to do the same, refuse to be their slaves. That's not the example that you want to set? Given the example you have been here, it feels safe to assume that the example that you want to set is to publicly shame someone, lie about their character, and be an absolute troll for zero reason at all. What an example, you're making people proud. This man has stated numerous times that he appreciates his supporters, yet here I was supporting his content and he attacked me without a care in the world. This is the kind of guy you support. Someone willing to turn on you without rhyme or reason based on his own preconceived notions alone. That's not how you should treat people, let alone the people that support you. This applies even if you don't have a large audience, but since you do, you you have an even greater responsibility to set a good example. And the only example you've set from this is what not to do. Shame. Then this man posted a video about me, mocking my choice of words.
But I'm going to anyways because I need content. The irony of you saying this after proving your... I would like to remind everyone in my own words. Take a look at this. Yourself right, but instead, you have legitimately done the opposite. I've already forestalled that objection, so I'm gonna keep reading.
I don't want to be that guy, but we already saw that they were already posted in the right order, so they couldn't magically just be posted in the wrong order all of a sudden without a little bit of tampering happening or a glitch that could have happened that I've never seen before, and whenever I searched it up, I couldn't find. Also, in this next section, I bring up that he called me a bigot. I was told that he did by numerous supporters of his, but whenever I went to the story, that's when everything was misconstrued and I couldn't see it for myself. I was pretty unhappy whenever I made this response, so I responded as if it was something that I myself saw, but I just wanted to clarify that I didn't actually see it. So if it didn't happen, I apologize, but I want to keep it in there just in case it did, so I am still responding to every single allegation against me. Yet again calling me homophobic and throwing in bigoted this time too. Where's the evidence for bigotry, my man? Oh yeah, there is none. Besides your statement, since bigotry is the act of being hateful towards someone for their beliefs, and while insinuating said beliefs, you have done that here, while mocking my decision not to cuss as if that makes my points any less relevant, since it is something that I believe I shouldn't do and doesn't affect anyone besides me. You have done that here. Let me clarify for those that think cussing makes you an adult or cool for some insane reason. I'm a Christian, I choose not to cuss, so unclean words don't leave my mouth. Even if I wasn't, I find zero necessity to say cuss words when other words literally exist to be used instead. Why would I use potentially harmful language, derogatory language, whenever I could just not? My bad that I'd rather not expose my audience to language some may not want to or may not need to hear, especially when kids can access my content, since they can access anything on the internet if they want to, and my content is public, obviously. I'm not unaware of that and don't want them to stumble into a bad environment if they do. What a savage roast. Bravo! I had to stop, drop, and roll in order to put out that fire. You burn me good. And for the sake of the "but this comment wasn't made public" argument, since people will raise anything nowadays to argue about, you're right, it wasn't sent to be publicized, but my beliefs still matter whether public or private. If you're gonna post about something I said in private, I want it to line up with how I am publicly as well. No disconnect between the two. I try to be real, which this is evidence of that and is contrary to what Johnny Boy will claim here before too long, since again he did zero research and tried to use some random supporter to farm engagement, seemingly without realizing that I myself have a channel, which I did hint at by speaking of the audience that I wanted to build. It was also in my bio, just to put to rest the people that will say I entrapped him for content or something. He chose to respond in the way that he did. Me being a content creator doesn't change that. Whether he knew or not makes things worse in different ways, either way due to assumptions that can be brought up because of it, but I'm not here to assume, not without that evidence to go along with it. I'd show the whole video he posted, but I physically can't. I don't know if he was deleting snaps on his story to manipulate the situation, or if Snap glitched in a way I've never in my life seen happen, but it became a disheveled mess that was hardly coherent by the time I tried to screen record the whole thing. I'll show you a comparison of both my attempts so you can see the difference, because I don't make baseless insinuations about what happened without an ounce of evidence to remotely back it up. Now here we are after he has spent not one, but 2 whole days attempting to flame me, then homie finally decides to reach out. But based on his previous actions and his wording in these messages, it feels beyond clear that he's not here for a civil discussion. Do you even know what Pride Month claims to celebrate, bro? Inclusivity and normality. That's what it used to be, that's what it's supposed to be before it became something far different. Something that even people who should be a part of the LGBT+ community are ashamed of. Not a single action you have performed during this was inclusive, nor did it normalize anything. To have you baselessly white knighting, wait, can I call it that, or will you say I'm racist? White knighting them and attacking someone on their behalf. Sorry, but that actually is the opposite of normalization, my man. You are drawing attention to them in a situation where doing so wasn't even relevant to begin with. Calling me homophobic without knowing a thing about me is wild. What if I was gay? What if I was two-spirit, non-binary, or trans? What if I just didn't like liked a month because of the attention it brought to me and how it achieves the opposite effect of normalization. This is why you have to be responsible with a platform that you have. You could have just tried to flame the very person you were trying to defend, again, for asking a simple question. I also want to bring up that after these points, I was continuously harassed and threatened by Johnny's audience. He never told them to do it, but this post here may have inadvertently encouraged it. I'm not saying it was his intention, and I don't believe that it was, but it's definitely another example of why you have to be responsible with a big audience. That being said, Johnny isn't responsible for his audience nor their actions. Don't attack him over this nor what they said, and may say if they see this video. He's only responsible for what he says to them and how he presents himself and his content, not what they do of their own volition. This feels like it's going on forever. What have I not addressed? I don't even know. You made so little actual points that I'm drawing a blank on where I'm even at as I try and make your argument for you in order to defend against it. Oh, you called me a fraud. Sorry man, but I've been out and open on my feelings regarding these things for many years. I guess you can say I'm an out of the closet Christian. Don't get offended, it's just a joke. Wouldn't want you to call me a homophobe again like a rainbow-haired liberal that's openly discriminatory against white straight men. Take that picture down before you start more drama. My beliefs never once stopped me from treating people who treat me respectfully with respect. I'm also a big fan of second chances, which I tried to give you with my, what did you call it, essay, but you completely disregarded it for the sake of, what did you say? Oh yeah, having fun and making content off of me.
Essay? I don't want to read, but I'm going to anyways because I need content and this is low-key kind of fun for me.
Also, if this is an essay to you, bro, then that's a whole new problem in its entirety. I feel bad for the teachers that had to put up with your one-paragraph essays. That had to have been disappointing. A one-man reason for why teachers deserve a raise. Calling me a fraud, calling me homophobic, bigoted without evidence to back it up is possible slander for what you spoke and libel for what you posted. I haven't said a single thing this video that hasn't been backed up by how you presented yourself this entire situation. You made the situation, however, by making mountains where molehills didn't even exist. Then, after your messages that I felt as if I couldn't trust, due to your actions, I still decided to be open with you anyway. Give you yet another chance to do the right thing. And you double down instead. You continue the drama by accusing me of projecting, which obviously never happened, given my essay that you call it was a response to your actions. Everything I said was based on the evidence you presented, not pulled from my rear to make something out of nothing. Not like you did to start this off to begin with. Who's the one projecting then? Curious to know. I was originally going to script out a calm and rational response to this, but after you treated me like a show for your viewers to point and laugh at, after you dehumanized me as content, degraded my character, and posted your army mocking me, you don't get that luxury anymore. I'll speak how I feel even if it's ruder than I truly wish to be, but I'm still trying to treat you better than you did me, because as that sentence stated, I don't like being unkind or disrespectful. But I'm not about to censor my thoughts either, nor my feelings to appease someone that didn't take them into consideration to begin with. You came off as a bully. A cruel, irresponsible, immature, reactionary, two-faced bully. I dealt with my fair share of bullies through school, and if I stood by as you did that to other people behind the safety of a screen, I'd be doing a disservice to every potential person that could be next. That may not handle it as well as I did, and may make far more drastic decisions. I couldn't live with that, and I don't know how many others you treated this way, nor how many you may treat that way in the future, but I hope I made this video before much damage was done. You wanted me to clear up this misunderstanding, as if it's entirely my fault it exists in the first place. Well, here you go, man, it's all cleared up. And if you want my opinion on my original statement, then check out my other videos, do some actual research this time before you go out and share your opinion for the world to see. Find out who I truly am, which you could have done since my channels are in the snap bio, the same one that you had to look at to find that send it. Or you could have private messaged me to begin with instead of making it public as you did. No excuse. Then for a third day, he posts my response, the essay he's already posted with some of the worst end of his music in the background. He has made some decent songs, but in my opinion this isn't one of them.
All these enemies, demons, who you thought thought were once angels.
He posted this after another ego boost from one of his followers, which may be why his voice is so hard to understand. The meat riding the fan gave him took a lot of energy out of him. Explains why he was so offended over a question regarding Pride Month, huh? Jokes aside, I tried not to stoop to this point, but 3 freaking days in a row after you pretended to want to have a genuine conversation is crazy. I was at the doctor's this day. I'd get on Snap afterwards to see if you apologized, as I decide if now that the water is settled if I should explain myself or not, regardless of if the apology existed, mind you. Then I see this instead. Looks like bad intentions are all you ever had from the start. Then you manipulate the situation and say I was mad because of that one sended post, lying to your audience in the process, which seems to prove that the misconstrued story wasn't a glitch, but you purposefully twisting the narrative in your own direction, which would be legitimately gaslighting your audience in front of your audience and nobody even notices. Or at least if they do notice, you don't give them the platform to reveal that. If that's truly what happened, if you willfully changed your story and your responses without acknowledging all that you said and all that may have saw them, that's pretty freaking scummy, especially for a guy with almost 1 million subscribers on one channel alone. It's disheartening to see if intentional, but if not, then you have to do better with what you say and how you say it. So Johnny Jonthra, head of the Godzilla gang, if the person you presented in this situation isn't who you are off camera or who you want to be on camera, then make a change. Be a decent person both off and on, make the difference I believed for 4 freaking years that you could make, and be the guy that wants to bring people together instead of tear them apart. As I said in the beginning, I never wanted to make this video. I never wanted to feel guilty for supporting you for 4 years. I never wanted to publicly attack you like you did to me, but you never apologized, man. You never took an ounce of accountability for a single one of your actions in this situation. So if you aren't sorry, if you aren't apologetic in the slightest, then I can't trust in good faith that you won't do this again. I can't trust that the next person you attack won't be less comfortable with their mental health and take it as personal as humanly possible. I can't trust that the parasocial relationship formed and then immediately tore away wouldn't cause far more harm, especially when you couldn't respect my one request, one that had to do with preserving my own mental health, then proceeded to post about me the day after. Gross. Your last messages to me at the time of recording were, he deleted a chat, who knows what that even said. Then he said, left unopened as expected. I'm trying my best to give you a chance to explain yourself. Your lack of communication isn't helping anyone here. Replying with, even if we don't like Pride Month, on my post that I dedicated to all of my followers in the LGBTQ+ community is extremely disrespectful. It's obviously not the time to be saying that. Not sure what you were thinking. I don't like the way you're playing victim after getting the reaction you wanted to your controversial statement. I don't mess with people who don't accept others just because of their sexuality. I'm making that very clear. Think about it from my perspective. I don't know you at all. How do you think I'm going to interpret that message? Obviously, I'm not the only one who found your comment to be distasteful. I'm hoping this is just a misunderstanding. If it is, I will gladly apologize and we can move past this. I just want to set the record straight first. Enlighten me. What a sweetheart. And the worst part about them isn't the obvious attitude, but the fact that you sent them after I told you I wasn't going to respond to that situation anymore that night, seemingly just to elicit a reaction out of me. You want to call me disrespectful for asking a question that revealed how welcoming you truly are, in the same message where you are disrespecting my wish to drop it for the night. The same night on the second day that you decided to try and flame me, disrespecting my mental health and the crap you just put me through to justify your position. I had a procedure that day. The entire day I was in immense physical pain, but you didn't know that. Actually, you may have, since it was on my public story and you viewed my public profile to find that sended, which, for the record, there are 100 sendeds in that story, so you really went through a lot of effort to try and diss me instead of trying to understand me, which is crazy since it's a lot of reading for a man who thinks a paragraph is an essay. You didn't take my possible position, my possible condition into consideration at all. Only content, that's all I was. If you respected my wish, I would have hit you up the next day since I was with the doctors that day anyway. If we talked it out at that point and ended things amicably in some regard, then this video never would have been made. All you needed to do was honor a request made out of respect even after all that you put me through, and you couldn't even do that. So I lost all hope in a respectful conversation since you wanted to disrespectfully force it onto me whenever I ask you not to. Then you have the audacity to accuse me of playing the victim, taking zero accountability for the fact that you made it so that I was. A simple question isn't a controversial statement, especially whenever a large portion of the LGBT+ community feel the exact same way. You made it a controversy by allowing your feelings to dictate your actions and trying to farm my question that you could have answered privately from the start for content on your story. You want to get that bag, bro? I used to respect that about you, but the way you went about it here was entirely avoidable. You could have gotten that same engagement by speaking about an issue that actually mattered to you, just as I do on this channel time and time again. If you thought the comment I made was disrespectful, fair. Make a video explaining how it made you feel. Blur out the name, offer your reasoning, spread your awareness. It's an easy thing to do. I tried to do it myself before realizing the severity of the situation and then revealing your name. I didn't want to, but the warning went from content creators need to be responsible to a warning of you specifically due to your handling of the rest of the situation. I'm not saying any of this as someone who is perfect. I have my fair share of rude comments that I responded to just as rudely. I've made videos where my point didn't come across due to my failure of portraying it correctly, as seen with my overly emotional rant from my Earthspark video. I've posted about people in a way that seemed harmless to me and yet hurt someone's feelings in one way or another. That was before I even started content creation, but still, I'm simply just sharing my experiences, what I have learned through my mistakes, all my own thoughts and beliefs. You want to make a difference and you have the audience to do that, but you're just not utilizing that platform correctly whatsoever. It's a shame. As of right now, that influence is wasted on you and I hate that. A lot of people want to make it as a YouTuber. Watching someone with over 800,000 followers on a channel squander it is heartbreaking to see. I hope you grow from this, I truly do. I hope you learn to understand that, as Uncle Ben said, with great power comes great responsibility. I hope you understand the reach that you have, the position that you're in as someone who's a content creator. You're an influencer now whether you want to be or not. You influence the actions and perceptions of others, which you demonstrated greatly during this situation. So own that. Realize that that's the reality and adapt to it. You can either respect the position you're in, be grateful for it, and use it to make a difference, or you can squander it all away with petty drama and baseless insults against people that you, as yourself stated, don't even know. I want you to change the world for the better, so take some accountability and decide whether you can be the change you want to see by changing how you present yourself, or if you would rather just remain in your own little bubble so that you never have to change, adapt, or face consequences for your actions, and in the end never make a change because of it. The choice is yours. If you truly are capable of forgiving me like you seemingly sarcastically said in one of your later posts a few days later, as you say I said mean things about you and ignore all the mean things you said about me, then I'm down to giving you a second chance as well, even though you are still posting me and the situation and never in a way that takes your action seriously in the slightest. It's been a week at this point, I believe, and I'm still being used as content, so this video feels pretty justified after all of that. As I stated many times here, I believe you have the capacity for good, maybe even greatness. Just gotta be willing to accept the responsibility that comes with it, well, responsibly. Whether you decide to keep this public or respond in private, whether you are aggressive or understanding, whether you act in good faith or you don't, is entirely up to you. The ball's in your court, but I truly wish for you to handle that responsibly as well. Maybe we can even put this behind us, grow from it, and who knows, maybe even become friends. I'd much rather end this amicably than watch you go on the attack, but I guess we'll see. To end this on a good note, some of Johnny's subs have reached out to check on me, as well as offer support and even agree with my feelings on the matter. I wanted to put this at the end to show my appreciation for that because its significance wasn't lost on me. It really means a lot, especially those that defended Johnny and yet still tried to apologize on his behalf. You didn't have to do that, so I thought it was pretty cool. You helped me feel less crazy and in the process less alone as well. Y'all are goated. Have a great day. Thank you.